we kind of alluded to it in the intro. This Oscars news today, or I guess last week, dropping that they're going to be making a couple changes, but the main one that there's going to be a new category called Outstanding Achievement in Popular Film. And you said, the second best thing. Do you really feel like this is second best thing? Because I feel like is this even an award you really want?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's there's a lot of snark going around it, right? And I think it really depends on what the award is defined as. The criteria is all TBD still, or at least not public yet. So I think there's a lot still to be known. In theory, I think it's a good idea, but I understand why some people are, making jokes about it. But I guess just to start, if your film was nominated for Best Achievement in Popular Film, Best Popular Film, and you're not nominated for Best Picture, does that feel like it's like a slight against your movie that it wasn't nominated for Best Picture, but nominated in this other category? On the other hand, the films that we assume will be in this category never get nominated for Best Picture, so they probably don't have that expectation. I could see going either way with it. But what do you think? Do you think this is a smart idea to add to the award show, which they also said they're going to make a little shorter?
Yeah, my assumption is that this is going to have something to do with box office numbers, because there has to be some way to determine what makes a movie popular versus, I guess, technically unpopular or not as seen. I mean, maybe I'm off on that, but I think in that case, a lot of those films are made in a different way and with, a different scope in mind. Films that usually or have been getting nominated for Best Picture are not the huge budget movies most of the time. It's the indie films. It's the stories that, are a little bit more human, but don't draw as big of a crowd. So I think
Shape of Water made like 60 million last year.
Exactly.
So
great point.
Smaller fare.
So it's the type of thing where I do think there should be a way to honor it, but I think where the issue comes in is something like Black Panther, which in and of itself is just a good movie. Ryan Coogler absolutely nailed it. We reviewed it, so go check that out at soundcloud.com/nostalgiapod. It's right on the fringe. It's kind of like Dark Knight when it didn't get nominated, but people were saying it should have been. And my fear is that people will say, we'll just nominate this one, or we'll vote for this one for most popular. And then these movies that should be getting at least a nomination for Best Picture will end up actually not getting nominated. There's a lot of plus and minuses to it, but I think that's my major concern.
Yeah, I always think, would a film like Get Out, if it came out, a year later, be in this category instead, have some less prestige to it. That is the fear, I suppose. But also, I mean, you remember 2016, there was a lot of buzz for Deadpool getting some attention. 2017, last year, there was a bunch of Logan, Wonder Woman, Girls Trip. Earlier, 2015, Straight Outta Compton. This year, in addition to Black Panther, Mission Impossible Fallout, there are popular films that are both well-reviewed and box office smashes. Right. So I think adding an extra award for that kind of attention is, I think a good thing to do. And yeah, maybe it'll bring some people in and help the ratings decline a little bit, sure. But just in general, I mean, anyone who's a fan of blockbuster films in general usually reviews them in a different way than we review, some art house film that we'd expect to be in the running for Best Picture, right? So I think this is just kind of an avenue for other studios that have different expectations to also get recognized, and it's not like, all these blockbusters now, they attract the A-list talent still, it's not like they're like the scourge of the industry. They keep the industry going. So I don't, and like a lot of people being hyperbolic saying, oh, will you make it to MTV Movie Awards? I'm like, it's one category and Best Picture is still going to be won by the movies nobody saw. Writ large, so I don't see the comp there. So I think once we know more, I think it should be cool. It'd be nice to see, those well done blockbusters get extra recognition beyond just getting them dollars.
Absolutely, like Mission Impossible Fallout is something I think absolutely should be recognized at the end of the year for how great of an action film it was. And no matter what comes of it, if this is actually drawing eyes to films that a lot of people either aren't seeing or wouldn't give a chance, to get a little bit more shine to see that, I don't think that's a bad thing. So I think the Academy is actually making some pretty smart decisions in terms of trying to make the Oscars more relevant and trying to make award shows just relevant, at least more watchable might be a better way to say it.